So the next thing for us to look at is an external reference, right? And so we're looking at this right here, right? And look at this. This looks like a monster formula, right? But it's really not. We can decode this. Let's look at this. What we're saying here is we're saying, hey, go look at cell B6 and do that on the summary worksheet in the Utah Excel file. All right, so here's the Utah Excel file. That's going to have a summary worksheet in it right there, summary worksheet, and cell B6, right? And that's all these are. These are just cell references, but they're in external workbooks, right? They're in other workbooks beside the one we're in right now. And so we get these big, long file paths. The good news is you never have to write those. When you click on those, Excel does it for you. We just need to be able to recognize it and say, oh, okay, I know what it's doing, right? That's just the Utah workbook, or the Colorado workbook, or the New Mexico workbook. Right? When we do this, what we'll do is it's kind of an old school way of looking at this, right? But we'll have these regional people or something like that, and we saw that we had our Utah or New Mexico, whatever, and those folks are going to fill this stuff out, and then we've got a master over here, a dependent file that's set up in the same way, and then we'll go ahead and we'll bring this data in, right? We'll go ahead and we'll source out to these external workbooks, and we'll drag this information into this from these external sources, right? That are probably sent to us. We can tile these, all right? We can go ahead and we can have all those workbooks open, and then we can hit our view, tile these things, and it'll give us these. It'll give you this great look where we've got all four of these things laid out like this, and then we can work in these at the same time, right? These are a little crowded on our screen, but there are applications where we want to do this, right? So View tab, we'd arrange all, right? And then finally, let's talk about data validation, all right? Well, not finally, I guess one thing after this, but data validation, the super cool thing, what we're doing here, the whole idea of data validation is that we're going to restrict what will go into this cell, all right? We're gonna restrict the kind of information that might be put into this cell and keep people from messing up our Excel model, right? And this is what the data validation dialog box looks like. And finally, formula auditing, all right? We're going to learn how to, if we get an error message, just can't figure something out, what are some of the tools that we can go back and we can kind of we can track back and we can figure out where did this occur, how do I fix this, right? And some of those are just stuff like this, going ahead and tracing dependence or precedence and seeing what is involved in going into that formula. All right, so we'll mess around with all of this stuff today. It's actually fairly interesting.